This is PG of PG's Lumacy. In this tutorial, we will be working on a project which I call the mini ribbons on a triple double bracelet. I have received numerous requests for this tutorial for people who would like to use the design for their fundraising projects and also to raise awareness for their various causes. So let's get started. We will be using the loom in its standard offset configuration, which means that the arrow will be pointing upwards. And for the rubber bands, we will be using white rubber bands for the base and your choice of color for the ribbons on the bracelet. I'm using pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Starting from the bottom of the loom, we will be placing a row of double bands. Let's do that again for the second row. And we will keep on doing this until we get to the top of the loom. And this is how your layout will look like when you are done placing the double bands. Now we will place single horizontal bands that will hold our project together. We will skip the bottommost row of pins and we will start with these 3 pins. We will place a single band across these 3 pins. And we will do that again with the next row of pins, and we will go all the way to the top of the loom. Now for the topmost row of pins, we will be placing a single band that we will twist and fold to itself, and we will place that across the row of pins. I call this the double looped band, and this will form our capping band when we start looping the bands later. Now let us place the bands that will form the awareness ribbon on our project. Starting from the 3rd pin in the middle from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, we place one end of our band, and these are double bands or 2 bands. And we stretch them across these pins, and then we place them on the 5th from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they will form this shape. Let's do that again. Starting with this pin, this time using our double pink bands, we go from this pin and then stretch it all the way to this pins on the top to form this shape again. And let's do the 3rd one. From this pin, we stretch it all the way to these pins, and they will form that shape. And this is how the layout will look like. after you are done placing the horizontal bands and the bands for the mini ribbons. Now we will start looping the bands, and you have to make sure that this time the arrow is pointing downwards, and we will start from the bottom of the loom. Okay, we will loop these bands to their forward pin. You grab the vertical bands from underneath the horizontal band and you loop it to the forward pin. And that is the first step. Now we move on to the next row of bands. Go into the horizontal bands and grab the double bands underneath and then loop them to the forward pin. Grab the double bands underneath and loop them to the forward pin. Okay, let's do that again for the next row. Make sure you don't miss any of the vertical bands or your project will fall apart when you take it off the loom. Okay, let's do the next row. Now, before you loop these bands where the end of the pink ribbons are, you will have to get the pink rubber bands out of the way. So to do that, we get them off the pin where they're at, and we move them to the pin in the bottom. And then we get one of the bands from the middle and then loop it to the top pin or the forward pin. And then we put back the rubber band, the pink rubber band, but this time we are going to make sure that it is twisted. Okay, let me do that again. Make sure that it is twisted. Onto the pin. Okay, did you see that? Let's do that again. Okay, let me hold it closer to the camera. When you place it back on its pin, you twist it. And that will form the top of the mini ribbon when we loop it. And then you grab the second band from underneath and then place it on its forward pin. And later on, you will see the mini ribbon formed with this. Let me do that again so that you will see how it's done. Okay, let us loop the white double bands, grab them from underneath the vertical bands, and then loop to the forward pin. Okay. Now when you get to the pin where the pink ribbon is at, before you loop these bands, you get the pink ribbon out of the way. And you do that by taking it off the pin where they're at and then move them to the pin in the bottom. And then you grab only one of the bands underneath, and you loop that band to the forward pin. And then you return the pink bands to the pin where they're at, but instead of just placing them this way, you will twist. Okay, when you place them back, you twist the pink rubber band to form the loop of the ribbon. So you twist it onto the pin, you twist the double bands onto the pin, and this will form the loop of the mini ribbon. And then you grab the other band from underneath and place it onto the forward pin. Okay, so let's do that again with the third one. Again, when you get to the pin where the pink ribbon is at, you get the pink rubber bands out of the way by getting them off this pin and placing them on the pin in the bottom. And then grab only one of the double bands and loop it to the forward pin. And then you place the pink ribbon back on this pin, but this time you twist the pink ribbon. Okay, twist it onto this pin to form the loop, and then grab the remaining white ribbon from underneath, white band, I'm sorry, from underneath, and then loop it to the forward pin. Then all you need to do is loop the remaining white double bands. We've reached the top of the loom. Okay, and then place the top loops of these bands to the center pin. Do that again for this side. And this is how the layout will look like after you have looped the bands. Now all we need to do is to secure the top loops of the bracelet, and you could use a single band for this, and if you want it stronger you could use double bands. So go into these bands on the top and then thread your securing bands, either a single band or double bands, thread them into the loops, okay, and then secure that band with your C-clips. Make sure all the bands are held by the C-clip. There's this one band that got loose, so we just put it into the C-clip. There you go. Now we are ready to pull this entire project off the loom. I usually use a hook for thick layers of bands. And just stretch out the bands. And then using fine tweezers, you fine tune the shape of the mini ribbons. Just pull them out so that they'll be more visible. Sometimes they get twisted. Just undo the twisting, and then to make this into a bracelet, all you need to do is add an extension, probably a single basic looped extension, and you could secure that with the C-clip and you could wear it as a bracelet. Okay, so there you have it, your mini ribbons on a triple double bracelet.